Well, we get him every couple of weeks, and we love him. He's got a podcast called Games with Names. New episode's got Gronk out now. I'm sure it's great. Julian Edelman, 3 rings, 12 years, all with the Patriots, which is so rare in sports today. So our big story, Brandon Staley got fired. Last year, first of all, I thought hiring him, 4 years total experience, 1 as a coordinator. I thought it was a big swing and a miss. Sean Payton was interested. Brian Daboll was interested. I am not against people that lack experience, but I think once you get a star quarterback, you almost owe him like a grown-up. I would have fired him after the 27-0 lead and loss in the playoffs. I would have just said, we can't. You're a defensive coach. You can't lose 20. Is that too harsh, or did you get bringing him back?
I probably would not have brought him back this year, just because of the whole circus that his coaching style is kind of had, and you know he's been trying to be the guy who's been revolutionary with the the schematics and the whole analytics. And then he kind of went back on that and he just lost his identity of what he was trying to be.
Yes.
So when you don't have an identity at the head coach position, you lose the identity of a team.
Great call.
So I think once that started happening, he started backpedaling on his analytics. I mean, that's just telling you he lost his confidence in what he really believes in. So, the decision probably should have been made last year, especially with what the kind of coaches you had, the Sean Paytons of the world that were out there. We all know this is a quarterback league. If you got the quarterback, you got to bring some things around him to make that thing go, because you don't know how long this window is going to be when you have a guy like that, like Justin Herbert. This could very well hurt Justin Herbert's confidence going into next year. This losing impacts guys. It's tough. I mean, look at the whole situation in New England right now. This is impact. Mac Jones probably going to be a backup quarterback now for the rest of his career, just because of how losing can impact people. So Staley losing his identity, doesn't have an identity, doesn't really know what his identity was. You feel bad for a guy getting fired. He'll be all right. He'll be collecting checks for the next couple years, and he'll be a coordinator.
So I said I feel like they had a culture with Don Coryell and they had a culture with Marty Schottenheimer, but the Chargers mostly, they've had players, quarterbacks, receivers, edge rushers. They've never had a formidable culture. Harbaugh creates them. Belichick creates them. Do you think Bill would consider it? Now, there's Spanos kids in the front office. Bill's got his kids on his staff. Do you think Bill would take the call?
He has to. If he's free, he's kind of gone down the young quarterback road this year, these last couple of years with Mac. I mean, you kind of know what you have with Justin Herbert. You can build around that. They got some pieces on defense, and they're lacking toughness. And what does Bill do? He brings toughness. Okay, he may be a little old school, and a lot of his stuff has, a lot of people have said that is probably, he hasn't evolved the way he wanted to with the newer generation. But after this, Bill's a guy that takes information, and he's the type of guy that has had hard conversations. I can remember when I was going in and negotiating to him after a Super Bowl MVP. He goes, "Look, it's production business. You're 32. I can't pay you what you want. And that's the kind of conversation that's probably going to be had at the table at the end of the year." And knowing Bill, he knows this is a production business. So I don't know where I'm going now. I just got zipped.
No, yeah.
But I think he would definitely be interested in the San Diego job or the LA job.
Yeah. Well, half the people here call it the San Diego Chargers, so that's okay. It is. It's a tough league. 11 of the 14 playoff teams today have offensive coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that's really jumped out, Julian, so a defensive coach can win if you have a Brady, you have a Josh Allen, you have a very good quarterback. But what I've noticed is defensive players are bigger, stronger, and faster. O-line play has regressed over the last decade. Quarterbacks are getting hit more often, more violently, and getting hurt more. Over 50 quarterbacks now play a year. That's the rule. Defensive coaches with backup quarterbacks are a disaster. But in Cincinnati, in Indianapolis, in San Francisco, they're not. And so I do think you almost have to build in, my quarterback's going to miss starts. Do I have a guy that can solve that riddle if it happens? I mean, Tomlin, Belichick, Pete Carroll. So would you go into it saying, listen, man, unless a defensive guy knocks my socks off, I'm going to give Herbert a guy that he can have conversations with?
Yeah, I think there's only one defensive guy that I think Bill's the only one that you bring in to bring to Justin Herbert. And that's because of, you look what Bill did with Tom early in his career. He taught him defense, and when you get that cross-pollination kind of teaching that, Bill's notorious for, and that could help him. I think he needs a leader. I think he needs someone to teach Justin Herbert, how to win in the National Football League. Someone that has a template, someone that you feel always prepared. So I think Harbaugh would be an unbelievable choice because Harbaugh's an interesting guy where, there's not many offensive-minded guys that have the label tough with them.
Good call.
And
his teams get physical.
They all get physical, and that would be, I think that would be great for a guy like Justin Herbert who, you build a run game in front of him. You don't put the ball in his hands all the time. Let him win games when he needs to win games, and it saves him. So and that's what Harbaugh does. That's probably what Bill would do. So it's interesting. I would want a solidified NFL type leader around Justin Herbert. I know it's the Ben Johnson guy is a sexy name out there right now. Yeah. But we still don't even know how the Detroit Lions are going to finish this year, let alone, having – and everyone just goes and crowns great coordinators to being great head coaches. I don't think that's always the case. There's only, the McVays of the world, the Shanahans of the world. Those guys are one-of-ones. This doesn't – I know it's a trend, but those guys are like – one-of-one type guys. It goes a whole lot in the other direction with the other guys. So it's going to be interesting. I think he needs a good leader.
So I think Kansas City, the Chiefs, are very much something you can speak to. So I always felt the Patriots had 3 stages to Tom's career.
Yeah.
Defense first. He's a very, very strong manager. He's learning the position. Then he becomes a star with Randy Moss. The third stage, which you were part of, which is he's got probably his 2 closest friends, Gronk and Edelman. It's a veteran team that's aging but still capable of winning. And then the last couple years, it peters out. But now I believe the Chiefs are transitioning to the second stage, which is Mahomes is now making a lot of money, and you got guys on that roster. You're teaching football.
Yeah.
Okay, and a veteran quarterback, Mahomes, Brady, that they can be a little impatient. If you're lined up off sides, it's not great. So when I watch Kansas City, I think, oh, you get this. You've been through these stages where you and Gronk were like, on third down, that's the only place Tom looked. Travis Kelce is where Mahomes. Yeah. And talk about where Kansas City's at. And again, juxtapose it with your New England life, that when dynasties, you still have a lot of trophies, but these transitions are hard. And I think Kansas City now in real time is trying to teach Rashee Rice and Tony how to be stars and dependable in big games. And it's hard.
It's hard. And Watson, for me, the Kansas City Chiefs they still have a shot. Okay. Let's everyone, when you have Patrick Mahomes with the number 2 defense and Andy Reid calling plays, you're always going to have a shot. They're just in that mode where they're still learning their team, and they have a pass because you have Patrick Mahomes, and they've shown that they've been able to do this last year when they've had to rechange their identity at the end of the year. You look at these last couple games with Rashee Rice, I guarantee Patrick Mahomes at practice or in the meeting rooms is building his confidence because he's had some production.
Yes.
And that's the role that Patrick Mahomes is in right now. You look at the game that Watson had a few weeks ago where he had his touchdown, he had a couple catches and had some production. these are the type of games you learn off of. And you get those younger players and you say, hey, we need those plays coming forward on these crucial third downs or this crucial 4-point play in the red area. And you hope that these guys can have the mental toughness to, even though if they lost, take the good from the loss, building off of those. I mean, it happened with us in 2018 where, we lost a lot of weapons. It was, we had a lot of guys that had to come in and make plays in certain situations that may not have done it in the past or even earlier in the year. The Philip Dorsetts, the Malcolm Mitchells, the Chris Hogans, the guys that made crucial plays in crucial situations may not have been called a lot, but made those plays. And you could see that, that potentially happen for, the Kansas City Chiefs going forward if they can have that mental toughness to learn from these losses. Yes, it's going to be tough, but, when you have a guy like Patrick Mahomes, I think it's still doable.
Yeah. So
it's going to be harder, though.
It is. Buffalo, Dallas, the big game of the weekend.
Huge.
It is. It is interesting. Dallas tends to play down. I always felt with your New England teams, I got the same team every week. Dallas got a little collegiate feel. At home, they're Alabama.
Yeah.
You get them on the road, it doesn't quite feel the same. Is that because they're young and emotional? You guys tended to be more of you were pragmatic, efficient. I never saw you as a team that was this. I always felt I got the same. Dallas, home this, road this, leading this, trailing that. Why would that be? Youth?
I think it has to do with youth. Yeah. And also, I mean, they've been playing really good football right now. So it's hard. I think you dump all that stuff out right now and you look at how their team's been executing these last 3-4 weeks against the big tests that they've had. I mean, they go out and they beat, Philly, which that's a big win for them at this time of the year against a team that has a winning record. I know it's a softer Philly right now because they're lacking an identity and they're struggling, but that's still a big win for them. And you can't take away how Dallas has been playing such complimentary football. I don't care if it's on the road or at home. Right now, they're in a different world where they're getting production on all three phases of the game. Turpin in the return game, Bland on defense with Parsons, Gilmore, who's having a really good year.
Really good year. Veteran,
great second corner or guy for the Bland kid to learn off of. And you got to tip your hat to how Dak has been managing this whole thing and as a whole. So, I don't want to get into they're good away or good at home. Right now, they're executing at such a high level. They just got to continue doing that. And right now, when you start winning games like they've been winning these last few weeks, you get an excitement when you go to work, on a Wednesday and you get the, first and second down package that you're going in. Guys are dialed because it becomes an attitude. We expect to win. And that's kind of what I'm feeling with Dallas right now. This is a huge test. You got a cornered animal. You have a cornered animal right now in the Buffalo Bills. These guys have their backs against the wall, and you can never count out, a pissed off Josh Allen. But if you look to it, you are what you really are. And Dallas for this last month has been real calm, cool, collect, executing. If they play the game the way they want to play the game from ahead, so they can have their defense go out and pin their ears back and get after Josh Allen. And not let Josh Allen be a problem, have someone spy him. They play the game the way they want to play. I mean, I think they could handle him. It's not going to be easy, though, because Josh Allen, they have those spurts where they're so big and they're so large, but the consistency level, you just don't know if you can capture that right now. So you have to go with Dallas right now.
Yeah. I think you pointed out something, too, between their return game and their kicking game. Their third team is really special. Guys jacking 60-yard field goals. And by the way, that makes it easier on a coaching staff. All that situational
wins
stuff.
You 2 games a year.
Just go get a
Look at Baltimore. They win on the walk-off. I remember, special teams. We used to take it so serious in New England. And, you'd hear the head coach, you'd hear Bill say, we we need to get a big explosion play this week. And like all of a sudden we'd have it. We'd really focus down and we'd win 2 or 3 games a year just on like a crazy play on defense or special teams, getting it from the other side. And that's real strong when all 3 phases are playing well. Dallas is this is their window, because you don't know what's really going to be next year, how much CeeDee Lamb's going to want, or you can never bank on the future when you're playing this well.
Yeah.
Because once you're playing this well, you lose guys, you lose coaches, and you're never going to have this opportunity again.
Dan Quinn may get a job.
He may get a job.
And listen, we have a history. There are these coordinators. There's 1 or 2 in the league at any time.
Yeah.
Philadelphia lost Shane Steichen. The offense isn't the same.
It hasn't been.
Most the same guys.
Yeah.
It's not the same. Great stuff, man.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.